Greetings everyone, welcome to Commerce Classes, and today we will be discussing some additional points in relation to simple dissolution problems. Like we have studied that in the dissolution of a firm we are to close the books by preparing realization account, partner's capital account, and finally the bank account. But while going through the different adjustments and assets and liabilities, sometimes some accounts are there where we might be having a doubt like how to adjust them. So we are taking up those specific points herein. Let us take them one by one. Now, number one is goodwill given in the balance sheet, and another is joint life policy. These are two separate transactions. Let us consider number one, goodwill. Now, goodwill is now being treated just like any other asset. Like in the admission, retirement, etc., you might be following a different procedure because therein you are adjusting the rights of the partners. Someone is gaining shares, someone is losing shares, so you are adjusting their rights, and so you adjusted these through the goodwill. But now the firm is being dissolved. You are to sell off all assets. So herein goodwill is treated just like an asset. So just like you record your land, building, stock, so you will adjust goodwill in the same manner, that is, close it in the realization and then realize the money. Right? So this will be treated like this. Now coming to joint life policy. What is joint life policy? It is a policy taken on the joint lives of all the partners. Like independently, if I take a policy on my life, then this policy will mature on my death, isn't it? But now when I'm taking a policy for the joint lives of the partners, that means this policy is going to mature and give you value on the death of any of the partners. But right now, when the firm is dissolving, it means you need to dispose of even this asset. You cannot continue with this joint policy because they are no longer joint. Your partners are no longer together, so you need to surrender this policy. So we sell our land, we sell our building, we collect money from debtors, but for the policy we do not sell it. We cannot sell our policy in the name of the any other person. So what happens herein is that you simply go to the joint life company, from where insurance company from where you have taken this policy, and you say that I surrender this policy because this is no longer applicable to all of us. So for joint life policy, this will of course be treated like any other asset. So this will be closed in the realization, but in place of sale, we'll be realizing the surrender value. Every policy comes with a surrender value. Surrender value is that you surrender the policy to the insurance company and they will pay you the price. So when we take a policy, surrender value is given in the agreement, in the documents, that if you do not continue with this policy, after some time you will get this much money. So whatever surrender value is there, you will recover that money from the company. Okay, so we'll close them in the realization and then we will recover either the sale price or the surrender value. Next is bank overdraft. Now normally we say that bank overdraft is a credit balance of bank, isn't it? So bank balance is written on the debit side, this should be written on the credit side, but not anymore. In case of dissolution of a firm, we are to pay off the third party liabilities right in the beginning before we pay anything to the partners. So herein, since this is the amount overdrawn, so you need to repay it to the bank. So it is treated like a third party liability, and you will close it in the realization and you will pay it. There are two main reasons for this. Number one is that if we just take it as a balance, now you know that when do we prepare bank account? We prepare bank account when we have closed our realization account, when we have closed our partner's capital account. That is, you closed it, you paid them the amount, and if you pay to your partners first and then you say that I am paying to bank overdraft, then you are violating the basic principle of dissolution, that third party liabilities must be paid first. So this liability must be paid before your partners are being paid anything. So this should be paid through realization. So you close it here along with other liabilities and then you pay it on the debit side. There is another very valid reason for the same. Sometimes when your firm becomes insolvent, Now, if a firm is becoming insolvent, insolvency implies it won't be able to pay all its liabilities in full. So you won't be able to pay the liability. So if you keep on your bank overdraft, waiting at till the end, till you close your partners' accounts, it means you will pay the available cash to the partners, and when you come to the bank account, you will be finding that we are not left with any money, isn't it? Because you are insolvent. You cannot give this plea to the bankers that we paid to the partners. They will say that we are third party liabilities and by law we must be paid first. So bank overdraft needs to be paid first before you pay towards the partners loans or partners capital. So the procedure is that take it as a liability, don't take it as a balance. So bank overdraft is not a balance anymore, it is a liability. It should be closed in the realization and then it should be paid through the realization. Next is provident fund and pension fund. Now normally when we read the term fund, so what we do is we automatically take it as a fund or reserve and we put it to the partners accounts. But please remember, we should read between the fine lines. Now when we say pension fund, so it is not belonging to partners. It is a fund that you have created to give pension to the employees in the event of their retirement. Or provident fund. Provident fund is simply fund created for the retirement benefits of the employees. So if something is payable to employees, then it is not a fund in the real sense, it's a liability. So treat it as a liability, close it in the realization and pay it. Okay, so just like a general reserve or reserve fund, don't distribute it. It is not a profit, it's a liability. Then reserve for uncertain liabilities. Now there might be certain reserves, like reserve for say employees compensation, right? Now you have created a reserve for employees compensation in the event of any accident. Now whenever we create any reserves, there are two type of uncertainties associated with them. One is that there is uncertainty of the amount. You may have a reserve, you may have a provision, you may have a fund. Although conceptually these three things convey three different meanings, but while working or while doing the accounting work, many times in small businesses, like partnership is also not guided by the accounting standards and all in reality. So normally in small businesses they just do the accounting work on the basis of their own knowledge. So many a times people use these terms interchangeably. If you are using these terms in companies, these have a separate meaning, and you cannot use the term provision for reserve or reserve for fund, etc. They have separate meaning, they should be treated like this. But in case of partnership, many a times your accountant might have used these terms invariably, so we need to distinguish between these. Now whichever term is given, we have to first of all find out that this reserve is being created for some kind of liability or losses. So is there an uncertainty of the amount, or is there an uncertainty of the loss or liability? That is, are you sure that this liability is going to happen? So if there is an uncertainty about the liability itself, that maybe this liability won't exist, so this will fall in this category. But when you are sure of the liability or a loss, but there is an uncertainty of the amount, like in case of debtors, you are making sales to thousands of people, so there is sure to be some kind of bad debts, so your loss is sure. The only uncertainty is about the amount. It may be 1%, it may be 2%, so when you have uncertainty about the amount only, then these are treated as provisions, and these are transferred to or closed to the realization account. But when you have uncertainty about the loss, whether this loss is going to be there or not, because we cannot expect that we'll be having employees accidents and then we'll have to pay compensation, so that loss is uncertain. Or maybe you make a liability fund for contingent liabilities, so you are not sure whether you are going to have such liability or not. Your liability is not there. So if there is any uncertainty about the liability itself, then their reserves, they are split into two parts. One is for the liability, which is now sure or certain. That is, for the certain part of liability, we'll split it into one, and the remaining part remaining part will be treated as profit, right? So the liability part will be closed in realization and we'll pay it accordingly, and the part which is profit, it will be transferred to partners capital account. So if you have say employees compensation fund of say 15,000, now your question doesn't say anything else, it means you do not have a liability, so treat it as a profit and transfer it to partners. But if your question says that you have a liability towards compensation for say 10,000, then 10,000 liability is now certain. So 10,000 will be treated as a liability, it will be closed in realization, and then 5,000 balance will go in partners accounts. Then you may have say liability of 20,000. Now if your liability is even more than your fund, then you still need to close the complete fund, because we are closing the account has 15,000, so you will close 15,000 and you will pay 20,000. Now coming to partners, nothing is left because you do not have any profit left here. The total liability is even more than that, so there is no balance. We won't say there is a loss, we do not have a loss here, we just created it to pay for the liabilities. So if your liability is more, it means that we'll have to pay the liability separately, but we will never say that we have got a loss out of that. This is the basic understanding. So there is no balance left, right? So it's just like you are going to market and you have put in say 500 rupees in your pocket for contingency, okay, that if there might be some problem and I may have to pay this, and you have your regular money, you have regular expenses, and you have regular money for that. So if you are you are spending more than your regular money or some contingency arises, then you may have to part away from this money, otherwise you have your regular funds with you. So if you are to part away more, then you will have to bring more money. You cannot take out more than 500. So whatever amount is put into the fund, we cannot take out more than that. So we can never say that we have a loss here. We'll simply say that we'll pay this much here, and for the balance we'll have to draw money from the other sources. So 15,000 fully closed in the realization because your liability is more, and remaining balance will be nil. So nothing will go to the partners. Next is assets taken over by the liability holders. Now if your asset is taken over by liability holder, it means that we won't be selling this asset, we won't be paying this liability. So these are two things which are cancelled against each other. So what we'll do, we'll simply check out the balance. Is there any balance left? And that balance will be recorded. So if you happen to pay more, then you will pay it on the debit side. If you get something out of this, you will show it on the receipt side, on the credit side. So we'll simply work on the balance. Say you have a land of say 50,000 and you have a bank loan of say 40,000. Okay, now this lender says that I'll take over your land at 60,000. Now if he takes over land of 60,000 against his loan of 40, so it means that balance 20,000 will be paid to us. We won't pay him more, right? His lender's liability is 40,000. He is to get 40,000 only. So if he takes over our land at an agreed value of 60, so after cancelling his loan, he will pay us back 20,000. So in our realization account, we'll show it on the credit side. Bank account, we got 20,000 back. On the other side, if you have say this land being taken over at say not 60, say at 35,000, maybe there is some problem, your land fetched you less, its fair value is less, so you agreed to give this land to him for 35,000. So again, now what will happen? His liability is 40, he is taking over something for 35. It means you need to pay him more. So rather than getting money, you will pay him. So in this case, we will pay him along with other liabilities 5,000 rupees. So for the assets being taken over by the liability holders, what we are supposed to do is, we are to cancel mutual adjustments and we will pay the balance, or we'll receive the balance. We'll either pay the balance or we'll receive the balance. Now next is unrecorded assets and liabilities. So we may have unrecorded assets and liabilities given in our books, given in adjustment. because if these are there in our books and balance sheet, these are recorded. Now sometimes our assets are such that these are completely written off from the books, so you charge depreciation over the years and the amount is completely written off, but still some asset is left. Now when you are going to close your business, this asset is fetching you some amount. Or maybe you purchase something and you thought that it is not having a very significant amount, so you just wrote off the amount, and so the asset is unrecorded. So now in order to adjust these at the time of dissolution, now how do we record normally? Normally when we have our assets and liabilities, we close them in realization and then we record sale price or the payment. Now, if these are unrecorded assets and liabilities, it means that this closing part is not at all required, because we close something which is there in the books. Since there is nothing in the books, so we cannot close them. So we won't close them. So we'll simply record the sale price or the payment. So you will not closing these, but you will simply record the sale or the payment of liabilities. Second is that if these are again adjusted, just like other assets or liabilities are adjusted or taken over, these assets or liabilities can also be adjusted against either recorded or unrecorded assets and liabilities. Our rule is going to be same, that cancel mutual adjustment and pay the balance or sell the remaining part of the asset as the case may be. So this is how we are going to adjust these things. So next time we'll be taking up some question wherein we'll be considering these adjustments, and we'll do a full-fledged dissolution problem. So meanwhile you can go through these again, and if you have doubts at any place, you can reach me through the comment section. So meanwhile, stay learning and practicing, stay smiling. Thank you.